Nicole Pierce, and I'm from KSU in the School of Accountancy within Cole's College of Business. I'm so excited for today. We have another series of conversations with our partners, and I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Jane Gilbert, our campus recruiter from CRI. Hey, Jane, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. Today's topic is a fun one, I think, for our students. We're going to talk about how to land a job using an online interview. I think these can be challenging, and I'm not exactly sure how to guide these students. So I'm glad you're here to help us through that process.
Yes, I'm very excited to do that.
Before we get started, I'd love for you to share just a little bit about CRI for anybody that doesn't know who you guys are, just so they can kind of hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, so we are a full-service CPA firm. Our largest office is in Atlanta, so we like to get a lot of Kennesaw State University students. We're the 20th largest in the nation. We have offices from Florida up to Kentucky, from the Atlantic coast all the way out to New Mexico. So we, grew out of the Southeast, but we have been growing ever since. So our slogan is National Strength, Southern Roots, and that kind of refers to the start in Alabama and our development since then. Our philosophy on growth and hiring allows us to provide, consistent client service firm-wide, maintaining an excellent level of service, but keep a local feel, a local identity within the offices. So for Atlanta specifically, that means about 200 employees in the office when we're at maximum occupancy, like when we have all of our interns in the office and everything. So that's kind of the lowdown on us.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting. We love you guys, and we know that y'all hire so many of our KSU students. We really appreciate that. And you guys are one of our corporate sponsors, so we definitely appreciate all the support you give us. Well, today's topic is going to be fun, how to land a job using an online interview, which I think these can be scary. We even had technical issues when we got on today, so definitely can happen. So why don't you tell the students, how do you prepare for this type of interview environment?
Yes, so on that note, the technological issues, some of the most important things to do ahead of time so that you don't have to worry about it in the moment are going to be to make sure that your Wi-Fi connection is strong. You can do a test call on whatever platform it is that you use with a friend or a family member ahead of time. You should also, make sure that you're in a location where you're going to be able to focus. That's really important. But beyond the kind of technological things, like for any interview, you need to know the basics of the company. Nobody expects you to be an expert, but it does look sloppy when you can't answer a question because you've never visited the website. If you don't know that we're a CPA firm, that's on the front page, so then I know that you haven't Googled us. And you also need to know yourself. So that sounds very basic, but as you're writing your resume, it's very easy to put things on there that you think will look good, but not really have a personal reason why they're on there. So you need to be prepared to tell me why you did something or what you got out of it. Those basic things need to be kind of ready at hand for you to kind of recall very quickly. And just the basics. What are your goals? Why are you applying to this? Those kinds of things. A quick Google of the top 10 interview questions will be sufficient. Just prepare an answer. You don't have to recite something memorized or anything like that. Just make sure that you're not thinking something out for the first time in an interview. You also want to make sure that any of your LinkedIn profiles or social media accounts are up to date and appropriate. You don't want us to, maybe we have your resume and we know we met you, but we can't put the face to the name. So we do a quick search and then we find something on there that's at the front page that looks bad. Just, make sure it's all clean and or private.
I always tell students that they really need to think that their grandma is checking out their social media accounts. It's the best way to stay safe. I'm so glad you mentioned that.
It's not a big brother situation. It's just so that we can remember oh yeah, this is that person that I was talking to, or maybe two people have very similar names or something. And I just want to know, who was this person that I had this funny conversation with? And so, yes, it would be heartbreaking for that to be the reason that you don't get a follow-up. You also want to dress for an interview. So just because you're in your house or, not in the office doesn't mean you shouldn't dress professionally. And a lot of people, I know you've probably seen on like Good Morning America and different places, the horror stories of people that think they only have to dress professionally from the waist up. And that's not true. I would recommend, wearing what you would wear into the office. Shoes are optional, but just to protect yourself from, maybe there's a mirror that you didn't see in the background or something like that. You just don't want to risk that.
Well, and I agree with you 100%. I also think it makes you feel better, right? Like, so
Absolutely.
Your confidence is going to be stronger. And instead of like having on your workout pants and your nice top, I think you feel awkward when you're dressed like that.
Yes. Yeah. And you really want to believe that you deserve the job. So if you're dressed not your best, it definitely translates into kind of the way that you're responding and the sort of your attitude during the interview.
Well, any other preparation tips, or you think that covers really the basis?
I mean, it's less preparation, but one thing I would say is to not only that it's important to feel your best, but it's important to have a good attitude. So I've definitely had interviews with people that have a bad attitude on the phone, and I was very surprised to encounter that, because you always want to put your best foot forward. But if you think that, if you're talking bad about former employers, or if you are sort of complaining, on the one hand, you can say, I had to accomplish this thing under difficult circumstances, so that shows that I have grit. That's great. But if you're saying, well, I did this, but then this person was mean to me, and like, if you're complaining to me, that's not an answer in an interview.
Yeah, an interview is not a good place to do some of your complaining, right?
Exactly.
So the other thing that I was going to ask you was the timeline for online interviews. Is that kind of different than the timeline for in-person interviews? Or given this new pandemic that we're all embracing, does timelines change?
They do. They can. So not necessarily, I don't want to make a blanket statement for all businesses. There are a lot of things to consider. I would say a rule of thumb is to give everyone some patience. So on our end, we definitely need to be patient with students, and students need to be patient with, the recruiters, the employers, because everyone is working to adapt to something that we have not seen before. So, it's sort of a moving target. That's the best way to think about it. We say, we expect this deadline and things, and of course we do our best to meet those, but there are always things, as we've seen, that come up that are unknowns. So my best advice for how to navigate that is to just stay in communication with your contact at the firm that you're interviewing with. Be ready to kind of roll with the punches, because that's really what we're all doing. And that's something that I think people are going to be looking for more and more, is the ability to kind of take things as they come and just don't let it distract you, don't let it derail you. Keep your goals in your mind and keep moving forward.
Yeah, no, it's such great advice. I was on a call today where all of us were like, we don't know. It's just going to have to go, right? We're just going to have to just take it as it comes. So I think that's perfect advice. I think our students are definitely capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
Right? We just need for them to lose some of the anxiety around the personal aspect of it, and hopefully they can overcome all of that.
Yes, absolutely. And we understand that too. I mean, we're all in the same boat to some degree. The thing I would say for general interview tips, definitely be yourself, be fairly transparent. If you're nervous, I've had people tell me I'm nervous on the phone, and that's fine. Sometimes just saying that makes it go away.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, sometimes just like putting it out there. Yeah, so that is good advice too. Well, any other final thoughts for our students or advice that you want to throw out there before we jump off today?
Sure. Yeah, I would say a quick tip, don't wrestle through notes. So like I said, be prepared for questions. You're going to want a quick bullet point, like, okay, what are my main strengths? I'm going to say organization and people skills, done. But you don't need to write out a whole long thing because you don't want to be looking through notes. We can tell when you're doing that, even if it's on the phone. Yeah. And definitely be on time. Traffic is not an issue for these. So we expect, timeliness that just puts the best foot forward.
Would you say that it's appropriate for them to like try to log on if it's a virtual call like a few minutes early? Or do you think that just right on time is the method of best practice?
I would say it's appropriate to start trying to log in about 5 minutes ahead of time. If you try too far in advance, it might be awkward, but that 5 minutes generally gives you the buffer that you might need in case you can't turn your microphone on or something like that, so that you can start on time. But generally, if the interviewer has to give you permission to join the meeting, I wouldn't expect them to be in there ahead of time.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. So don't show up 20 minutes early to the call, but trying to give yourself a little bit of a buffer of a couple minutes to try to work out the microphone kinks or anything like that. Well, Jane, I really appreciate our time. I miss seeing you in person. I can't wait for us to get back together. But I think the students will find this valuable. So until we can see each other again, I appreciate it. And I hope you have a good day.
Thank you so much. You too.